We've been talking about Bigfoot all morning long, and a little bit earlier this morning we had told you that I received a message from our website yesterday from a guy by the name of Tim, and he basically said, hey, are you still looking for Bigfoot? And I'm like, hell yeah. And he goes, no, seriously, I saw Bigfoot. I have pictures, no hoax. So I had sent him back and forth emails to set this up and talk with him this morning and to get his story. So, Tim, you work out. You said you're out working right now in the field. What is your job?
I work for the Department of Defense.
All right, but you're out and about all the time outside. So being out in the wilderness is not new to you, correct?
No, I've been hunting and fishing since I could walk.
All right, so St. Joe National Forest, approximately where were you at? What was the closest town to where you were at?
It has to be St. Mary's.
Give us the details of what, first of all, this happened about 4 weeks ago, you said?
Yes. In the area that I go to, 3 years ago, I found giant human-like footprints in the snow in April. It was before anybody had gotten up in the mountains, and I have a 4x4 Jeep, and I made it pretty far until the snow was too deep. And when I turned around, I started going down, and I seen these giant holes in the snow. After hiking down in there, we found where it had walked, and I had taken pictures of the footprints. And then 3 months later, up in the same area, we were huckleberry picking, and I found a giant pool of scat. There's nothing in the woods that makes this big of a pool.
What about bear?
There's no bear in Idaho. As a kid, I actually seen a grizzly up there one time, but there's just nothing that makes this big of a pile. But that doesn't even matter because its footprint was in the pile of scat.
Okay, now, when you say you saw this massive footprint, give us the size of the footprint.
About 17 to 17 and a half inches.
Oh, and once again, it's not a bear print, so you didn't see claws. It was like a human-sized footprint.
It looks like a human footprint. There's no claws at the end of it like a bear would leave. It's not a bear. I know what a bear looks like.
But aren't there actual things that you can buy on Amazon that make those footprints? Like I've seen that on one of those shows where people will go out and push them down in the snow or the dirt and make it look like...
I thought about that also, but at the time of the snow, there's no way. There's nobody up there. There's no campers. It's very remote, and when I tried following the footprints as it went up towards a canyon, I couldn't get through the snow. So I know that it's not human-made.
And there were no other prints or anything leading to the other, what you thought were Bigfoot prints?
None.
All right.
No human of anything, no tire tracks even. My Jeep was the first one that made it through that road.
4 weeks ago, you were in the St. Joe Forest. Now, is this the same area?
Yes, same area. I've read a lot about it, about Bigfoot and that. And I started leaving food out on a stump, and then I'd come back in the morning. Well, of course, you don't know I never thought much of it. That night when I put the food, I put 3 apples, an old banana, and I happened to have a set of spoons in my tackle box from fishing.
Right.
And I thought I'd throw that up on the stump. I put that up on the stump. I came back at 9:30 in the morning. I'm driving down the road, and I see the giant rock on the stump.
How much would you think, because you sent us this picture of this rock, and it's hard to tell from the picture, how much would you guess that rock weighs?
I would say 250.
What?
Possibly 300. It's huge.
So something ate the food on that trunk and then put the rock there?
I don't know if they ate it, took it, or what, but there's nobody
they replaced it.
That can...
You know what I think happened?
That was their thank you?
Yeah, I think that was their thank you. I think you left food for them on their table, and they go, I'm going to give you a rock, and put the rock up on that stump.
Maybe in their world, that's a show of, appreciation.
And let's put it, you know better than we do. That's not something that a rock that you, for instance, could just pick up and put up on a stump.
No, not only that, they would have had to have gotten that rock from about, I would say, 80 to 100 yards away out of the creek. So there's no way a human carried that rock, carried it up an embankment, up a hill, and put it up on that stump.
You sent us photos, and I cannot see, and once again, I get it because I've taken photos on my phone of, families and stuff like that, pictures or whatever, and it doesn't turn out well, and I can't really see, but you could see something in that thick, dark area.
When I seen the rock on the stump, I got out of my Jeep, but the excitement quickly left me because I felt, I can only tell you this from experience in war, from being in the Marine Corps, I had a bad gut feeling, and I wouldn't go down to that rock. So I pulled out my phone, and I took a picture of that rock on that stump, and I left. Now, when I got back down to civilization, I actually sent that photo to my friend who was visiting his parents in Virginia of the rock, because I was excited about this giant rock on the stump something put on there. It was my buddy's mom who said, I see a face in that picture. That's when I re-looked at the picture, and I can see it plain as day. I can see its eyes, nose, mouth. I took that picture. 4 weeks later, I went back, well, not even that 3 weeks, it was last weekend. I went back to that same spot from the road. I took my binoculars and made sure nothing was down there looking at me again, and I went down there and I measured from that picture, from that tree, because I took the same pictures, and I got pictures of it not there, and it's around 8 foot to 8'3".
So here, don't hate me. So I
got to tell you, she's skeptical. She's 100% skeptical of any Bigfoot anything.
So like seeing the face in the picture, I don't know if I don't believe that. But the story about the rock and how big that was and replacing the food, that's kind of crazy to me. That seems like that's weird, right?
Have you ever watched the television show Bigfoot Hunters?
I mean, there's a million of those shows out now, so which one?
Yeah. Well, there's the one, and I can't remember the stars of it, but they traveled around the United States just searching for, I think the show was actually called Searching for Bigfoot, and they would leave candy bars out because not everything is going to eat a candy bar.
So you never got your spoons back, did you? They take your spoons.
they took that lure. Whatever was there took it. When I went back 3 weeks later and went around the area, I was trying to find any kind of track, any kind of evidence, any kind of anything, and there was just nothing there. The ground, I mean, it's deep forest, so the ground is covered with thousands of years of pine needles and stuff, so
it's not easy to get around. Now, did you go back by yourself? Because me, as you're telling the story, there's no way I would be caught dead by myself in this place. I wouldn't even go back at dark.
Yeah, I did go back by myself. I went back during the day. I was armed because I know what I see in that picture.
Let me ask you this. Would you go back there at night?
By myself, no.
So, see, to me, it's a no-brainer. Go back, put food on the stump or another stump or near there, set up cameras, leave, come back in a couple days, and then go through the footage.
Well, that's my plan, yes.
All right.
Do it.
So
and then let
we
us
want
know.
you to keep in contact with us because we want to follow along with this. This is absolutely fascinating. We're talking to a former Marine who now works for the Department of Defense. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sending the pictures. And like I said, when you get this done, we want to hear from you again. I would love to find out what you find in this area again if you set up cameras.
I will be setting up cameras, and if I get anything, I'll definitely contact you and send it to you.
Even if you don't get anything, we still want to hear from you. Just let us know.
If there's another rock there, like replacing it, that we might learn a little bit about
there. I thought about pushing the rock off to see if they'd put it back. Taking a pry bar down.
That's a good
idea.
idea.
Might be offending them. They might be giving you that rock as a thank you.
I know. I don't know. That's just it. I don't know how they think, so I don't know.
I can't believe we're having this
Here's the other thing I want. Do you still have pictures of the footprint? You said you took pictures of the human-like footprints?
Yes, I have it on a camera.
Can you email those pictures to us?
Yes.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tim, for taking the time to share with us this morning. And like I said, you have to call back one way or the other because I'll be sitting here thinking, oh, my God, did Bigfoot kill him? We haven't heard from Tim in a long time.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. All right. There we go.
That's weird.
That is a little strange. Just a little. I mean, because you're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody else there. And you put that stuff on the stump, and the next morning you wake up and there's a rock in place of all the stuff that's on the stump.
That makes
and
me
there's
think
nobody
that's
around.
Their appreciation.
That's
gesture.
what I thought.
Like barter system.
Yeah, as he's telling that story, he's just saying, yeah, it's like you put that stuff out there and go, well, I'm going to say thank you. It just lifts up a rock and here's a rock. Take it home.
It might be their way of what?
Thank you.